In this lesson, we'll apply some color to the skin around the eye. So all of the remaining grayscale information that we have, we want to go ahead and add some color to it. So we're going to be working on that same layer as we did before when we were painting that base for the iris. It's a layer titled Color, and it's using a color blend mode. Again, that blend mode allows us to preserve all of our values, all of our darks and our lights as we apply color. So we have a course in our library titled Methods for Painting Realistic Skin Tone. Definitely check that out if you want to kind of learn more, know more, and kind of see an approach as to how we would do that digitally in Photoshop. We use the asset that we create as a female head that we work on. We use that same asset for another course where we learn how to paint hair. So we kind of discussed a little bit about hair in the previous lesson. So I've prepared some swatches here, so feel free to use these if you want to. What I like to do is I'll kind of start with a base, so some sort of neutral color, not too dark or too light, and I'll just go ahead and start to work that in. Okay, and so I want to just kind of keep this all contained to just the skin. And I think it'll be fine if I go ahead and just cover up the eyebrow there. I'll go ahead and kind of use that as a base for the eyebrow colors where I think I can make that work. So just all of this grayscale information here. Notice how this blend mode, this color blend mode, is only showing up on any kind of anything that has value to it. So as I paint over the white area of our canvas, it doesn't show up, which I do like that a lot. Okay, so again, just kind of a base tone to start with. And then we have some mid-tones here that we can start to kind of work in, some additional color. So without getting real granular and discussing a lot of stuff about color, I just prepared these swatches for you. I would recommend checking out that other course about painting skin tone if you want to kind of gain a little bit more insight. But basically, just I want to have this base tone, and then I really want to kind of warm up some areas where you have blood, because the eyes require a lot of blood to really operate them. There's a lot of blood flow happening up there. So you want this area to feel alive. So I'm using some of these mid-tones right there. Also, I have some shadow tones here that I also want to kind of see if I can kind of work in as well. So kind of working in some of those. And I might even kind of work some of that into just the eyebrow itself. So feel free to, again, kind of play around with some of these swatches. We have some warm tones right here. Again, just kind of working that over this area right here. Just kind of thinking about, again, just the blood that kind of, you're going to have some warm kind of pinkish color that you might want to kind of have in here so that the eye doesn't feel so lifeless, the skin around the eye. Okay, so just kind of making that visual comparison there, just toggling the visibility of that layer. So I'm kind of starting to like how that looks there. I'm just doing this all on one layer. I feel pretty comfortable doing that. If you want to separate it out across multiple layers, applying your base tone and then your mid-tone and your shadows, feel free to do that too. It's really whatever is you're most comfortable with. Also have some highlight tones here as well. Kind of work in some of that color over some of these different highlighted areas. Okay. Kind of working in some of that. But again, a lot of muscles that are involved in the eye to really allow it to function. The little tear duct area here, it'll kind of be a pinkish fleshy color sometimes. Just kind of working in some of that color in there as well. I don't want it to be overly saturated, but just kind of warming that up as well. I have another layer here that I actually also created separate, and I titled it Blood Vessels. And so, you do have vessels, that little tiny blood vessels that show up in the eye. Some people, theirs are really prominent, perhaps if they didn't get a lot of sleep. If they're suffering from narcolepsy or something like that, it'll show up to work, bloodshot in the eyes. So on this layer, I may want to change the blend mode to maybe overlay to kind of set these vessels in there a little bit more to my liking, but just kind of coming in, kind of working in some faint little lines there. I might actually want to pick maybe more of a reddish color in this case, kind of see how that looks. And we can kind of rein in the opacity of that as well. And again, my advice to you is maybe look up some reference imagery of some close-up of some eyes, the whites of the eyes. You can kind of get a sense as to how these blood vessels kind of could be laid in there. Usually I try not to make them perfectly consistent or perfectly visible for the entire vessel. I'll kind of try to make some areas a little darker than others. I may want to kind of rein that in. It looks like, let me take a step back there. I want to make sure I have my eraser tool set to transfer. Just kind of dabbing, kind of lightening up some of those different areas there. But I think just having some vessels in there just kind of adds to the quality of the eye. It's a very subtle thing, and it's something I like to kind of build up over time. Okay, coming back to that color layer, I may even want to work in just a little bit of that warm color in there, just in behind that vessel. Those vessels that kind of complement a little bit of that. All right, very good. And maybe even some of this kind of highlight color that I have in here. That way, it's not completely grayscale value in the eye, getting a little bit of that. I got a little bit of a kind of a greenish color in here as well, kind of working in some of that. So just so it feels not just grayscale value there. Okay. All right, so just spending a little bit of time throwing in some color in here. Again, I thought it would be nice to just provide you with some swatches that I've already prepared here, so feel free to kind of play around with some of these. You may find a little bit beneficial, perhaps for your project of your own that you're working on, where you're painting some skin. But again, just think of the eye as a feature of the face that requires a lot of blood flow, because it's moving. You're constantly moving your eyes, even at this very moment. So you want to have some areas where it's a little bit warmer, a little bit more pinkish. It's usually kind of around the eyes right there. Now, you don't want to go too extreme with it, because then it could make it look like they're sickly. So if we got in there and really started to do something crazy like that, then they're going to look like they have some sort of disease, or they're just sick, or have a cold or something. So, all right, so that's feeling pretty nice. So I hope you've enjoyed this course. I've had a lot of fun just talking about the eye, drawing the eye, not just from the front view, but also the side view and the 3/4 view. Okay, so I look forward to working with you in a future course, and we'll see you then.